following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, where every man them are thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party, let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself, the known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
British punk, yo, wanna be Jimmy Star's new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Star's.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. I'm Jimmy Star, and Ron Russell is not going to be with us today. He's having some problems with his knee surgery, and he's not feeling well. And we got halfway to coming in here, and he couldn't make it in here walking, so we put him back in bed. And so this will be the very first Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell that I don't have a co-host. So let's see how we do. Please bear with me because it's if you're prepared for it ahead of time, you can come up with things to talk about, but I didn't have any preparation because it happened literally 5 minutes ago. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. We do have two great guests for you guys today. We have Lukas Hassel coming on from New York City, and we have Gino Alfonso, which I don't know where he lives, but he's been on the show once before as part of a group of a movie cast, I believe, and I think we'll have a lot of fun. We want to say hi to everybody in the chat room. What's up? Stefan Bell is the only one in there with us so far. Hey, Stefan, hope everything is well. And hopefully I don't miss any of the comments or anything that are going on in here. It's just very unusual and different. And I'm sitting in the middle of the screen. How cool is that? I'm digging that. Hey, Don Hinton has just joined us. Jeff Caperton has just joined us. What's up, you guys? B. Claudia from Germany. Congratulations, B. Your new glasses look great. And thanks for all the graphics that you made for me the other day. You're fabulous. Again, Ron is having some problems with his knee and couldn't walk to the to get in here actually because he's just having some problems with it. So he went to therapy yesterday and they worked it out really bad, and now he's in a lot of pain. But anyway, hope everybody is doing well. Thanks for joining us. We do have a fun show for you guys today. Before we get started, I don't know what I was going to say, but I'm glad all you guys are here. And like I said, we have a really good show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll be rocking and rolling shortly. Before, we might as well do the advertising things and get some of the advertising stuff out of the way ahead of time before our guests come on. Number one, first thing I want to tell everybody. Eileen Shapiro and I, we have a company, World Star PR. One of our clients is Phoenix 360. We had the owner, Alan Klepfis, on the show several months ago, and it's a music app that helps musicians make money with their music. And every month at Chelsea Table and Stage in New York City, they do a really cool event. This month's event is next week on Wednesday. It's a Pride event. They have some great performers. Ike Avelli is hosting, a comedian who's been on the show numerous times. Jasmine Cara, who's a huge Swedish pop star who's also been on the show, is headlining. And then they also have Jesse Luttrell, Mark Angel, and Egypt LaBeja coming on the show. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And you can get tickets on Eventbrite. All you got to do is stick in Phoenix 360, Chelsea Table and Stage. And I think you guys will enjoy it. And it's for a good cause. And Phoenix 360 is really helping musicians all around the world. So check it out. Again, you can just go to phoenix360.com to find out more information about the app. I think you guys will like it. It's a lot of fun. I also want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to the show every week. We have you can hear us on Acast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Amazon Prime, and 360 TVN. I also, with the help of B. Claudia and Stefan Bell, we launched Jimmy Star Entertainment on YouTube, so please subscribe to our channel. We have about 1,000 subscribers. It's only about 7 days old, and it's Jimmy Star Entertainment, and it's basically, I wanted to do a YouTube channel that's not the Jimmy Star Show channel because I only want to put Jimmy Star Show stuff on the Jimmy Star Show channel. So now we have a YouTube channel that's going to have everything else. It's got Dark Frights Horror Magazine. It's going to have Collector's Corner with Jimmy Star. It's got trailers of movies we're in, trailers of movies we're working on, just everything about Jimmy Star and what's going on in my world. So please subscribe to Jimmy Star Entertainment. It should be a lot of fun. I hope everybody in the chat room is doing well. And Ron and I actually watched a horror movie last night. It was really a thriller, and it's an old movie. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Stepfather, but they made it, I think, maybe in the 80s, and then they remade it in 2009. I actually like the 80s version better, but it had the guy from Nip Tuck, and it had the guy from Gossip Girl, and it had Amber Heard, who I guess has been canceled, because she didn't blow Johnny Depp well or something. I don't know, because they had that big fight and all that was going on, and she hasn't worked since then. But it was actually really, really good. I also had Cell Award. It was a lot of fun, so I think you guys should check out The Stepfather. And today, let's see, what was I going to say? Now I forgot. See, that's what happens when you don't have somebody else sitting next to you helping you keep things going, and you have to just talk on your own. Everybody in the chat room seems happy, though. You're welcome for the mention. You guys, anybody who doesn't know, B. Claudia is in Germany. Don Hinton just had shoulder surgery. B. Claudia got new glasses. I saw him on Facebook this morning. Stefan Bell is rocking and rolling. He's a genius. We want to say hello to his significant other, Tina. Hope she's doing well. And see, we did the Phoenix 360 thing. We did the Jimmy Star Entertainment thing. So I'm getting ready to start a new podcast. Oh, follow us on TikTok, you guys. So this is Jimmy Star in all my social media. So on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, our YouTube channel for the Jimmy Star Show. It's all at This is Jimmy Star. Please follow me on all the different social media platforms because I'm trying to build them all. And if you're not on TikTok, I think that you guys should actually join it. I know that like everybody thinks it's like a bad thing to be on, but it's a lot of fun. And I enjoy it, and I love watching out how to do all of it. So I think it's really cool. And Jeff Caperton says he could jump on a plane and get here right before the end of the show to fill in for Ron. Jeff Caperton, you guys, is a superstar, working on 1, 2, 3 movies with him. I think we should have hopefully some news about The Red River, the movie that's going to be directed by Jennifer James, starring Ming Ballard, who's getting worked on by Lady Lake Music and I. And Ron's got a role in it, so we should have some good news about the funding about that soon. Also some good news about Zombie with a Shotgun coming soon, and hopefully on Carnival and Cry Havoc, which is the 2 other big films that we're working on. I can't wait. Hopefully it all goes well. We'll see. The movie industry, like we were talking about last week, is very indecisive and difficult. There's a lot of competition. Not all films make money. It's hard to find money, so it's a difficult thing to be in, and unless you really love it, it's not really worth being in, but I love it, so I think it'll be really good. We also want to wish Marcel Walsh a happy birthday. We actually didn't get to go to his birthday party because neither one of us can drive in the car for 2 hours yet. It's a long time to sit when you have a knee that you have to move around all the time. So we're working on, we tried to get there, but we just couldn't quite do it. It's just too long in the car, and so we're hoping in another week or 2 we should be able to travel a little bit more than we are right now since we haven't really left the house. I hope everybody had a happy Father's Day in the chat room. I know Don Hinton has a husband, so he had a Father's Day, and Jeff Caperton's a father, so he had a Father's Day. We hope everybody around had a happy Father's Day. Stefan just texted me something, and it's nothing that I can talk about here. Sorry about that. So I think... what else do I have that we can talk about? I really should have made a list, but I just didn't have time, you guys. I think Tina says hi to everybody, and Jeff Caperton said not as he only not had a Father's Day, but he's also a daddy. What a perv! But that's fucking hilarious. You gotta love it. So I think while I'm regrouping myself a little bit, I think we're going to take a quick music break because our first guest should be coming on. And when I have somebody to talk to, it'll be a little bit easier to keep things rolling and rocking. We're going to play a song called What Happened by Suze Rain. They were actually on our show a long time ago. I've been going back because I'm inviting guests that have been on the show previously. Like last week, we had Uwe Boll, and I'm looking for some people who were on the show 10 and 15 years ago. Suze Rain was on the show probably 14 years ago. They're a really cool band. The name of the song is What Happened, and check it out. Here's Suze Rain, What Happened. Enjoy.
So is this how you thought that this was really gonna go? A time bomb in your pocket and a tenner up your nose. You say, oh my God, what happened? A precious moment too soon of a sudden clarity. It's gone, but for a second really thought that you could see. You say, oh my God, what happened? A nasty little story of a rape at a hotel. Some football players are present, but they swear they're not involved. They're saying, what the just happened? They're saying, oh my God. Whichever way you decide to choose, you know it's gotta be the right one. Whatever you think you've got to lose, you know it's gotta be the best one. How you saw yourself all grown up and content. There's just a little left of you, the rest of you is dead or dying. Jesus Christ, I doubt it. Just another point to make, but nothing left to prove. You beat your head against the wall, it's never gonna move. You say, bloody hell, what happened? You say, oh my God. Whichever way you decide to choose, you know it's gotta be the right one. Whatever you think you've got to lose, you know it's gotta be the best one. Whatever you think you've got to do, you know it's all been done a long, long time ago. So take me in your arms again, say everything's alright. We haven't got a lot of time, but baby, we've got a lot of oh my God, it happened. Whichever way you decide to choose, you know it's gotta be the right one. Whatever you think you've got to lose, you know it's gotta be the best one. Whatever you think you've got to do, you know it's all been done a long, long time ago.
So that's Sue's Rain. What happened? B. Claudia also told me I should mention that the show, we're on Apple Podcasts, so you can listen to us. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. She also said I should mention I used to be a clothing designer, which is true. The biggest film I worked on was Too Fast, Too Furious, but I dressed everybody, Madonna, Elton John, all kinds of cool people. It was a lot of fun, a great time in life, and I love dabbling in a little bit now. And she said I should also mention the cred graphic that I got named the 5th most popular radio personality to follow on social media, which is a lot of fun. Two of the people that are ahead of me, Ryan Seacrest is number 1 and Sean Hannity's number 3. And I'm just happy to make the list at all. And so we want to thank everybody for tuning in and supporting the show every week. We're going into our 18th year, and we're having a really good time with it all. And now we're going to bring on our very first guest of the day. So let's bring in Lukas.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, good. I can actually hear you well, too. Okay, so is it Lukas Hassel? Is that it?
That's it, man.
Oh, that's a very easy one to do. All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, actor, writer, director, Lukas Hassel. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I've just been listening to you the last 10 minutes right here, and you have an amazing energy. I love your glasses.
Oh, thank you. I have them in every color.
Perfect. It's a red day today. Got it.
I collect action figures, and I have my own Funko Pop, and even my Funko Pop has red glasses because that's kind of like my trademark.
Love it.
I actually had green ones on before we started, but my significant other, who's also my co-host, we had knee surgery, and he's having some difficulties with it. And literally 5 minutes before the show, he said, I can't do it. I won't be able to do it. And so I didn't have any time to prepare, so I put my red glasses on just to help me feel comfortable.
Oh, so from green to red. Red is like your comfort zone.
This
Got
is
it.
my
Okay.
comfort zone, and this is the first show that I have ever hosted by myself in 18 years because I've always had a co-host. So
Wow.
normally,
Okay.
if we don't have a co-host, we cancel the show because if we were to have a problem, we've only canceled like 5 of them in 18 years. But
Okay.
if we were to have a problem, we would cancel it, a day before or something. We wouldn't cancel it, 5 minutes before. So
Wow.
I'm winging it right now, but I'm excited to
Right.
have you on. First of all, we have a chat room full of people. Say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hey, everybody in the chat room.
And then we have somebody in the chat room. I don't know. I know she was in there earlier. Her name is Dawn. She's going to think you're like the hottest thing ever. So say hi to Dawn.
Hey, Don. I hope so. I hope I'm the hottest thing ever. Thank you.
Oh, I know she's going to think it. Well, I saw you on Instagram. I have to tell you. So I didn't even know who you were. I saw you on Instagram and I thought, oh, look, that's a really good looking guy. I hope he's done something cool because all the girls will like him. All the gay guys will like him. He'll be a perfect guest. And then I looked and I was like, okay, he's done some cool shit too. Let's invite him.
No, I love that initiative, right? It's all about the community and it's all about who you can connect with and getting the word out there. And yeah, and both you and I probably have been at this for a while. So
Yes, we've been at it for a long time. I've been doing entertainment for, I don't know, I was like in stuff when I was in high school. I'm 60. I'm old.
oh, listen, we're right in the same neighborhood. It's all good, right?
And Ron, my husband, he's actually 85, even though he only looks about 65, but he's
Wow.
85. So
Okay, and I wish him all the best for his knees. My sister just had knee surgery, and it takes a while for rehab for sure, but hopefully he'll get there.
we both had it. I had one too, but I'm a little bit younger, and mine was like 2 months before his. So anyway, it's going good. So you guys, you can follow Lukas on Instagram at Lukas Hassel. He's got it up there on his name. And he's got a bunch of exciting stuff coming up. He's got a really big thing because I think tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
Right. Well,
Tomorrow,
Friday is the big LA premiere of the feature that I wrote or that I'm in with Natasha Henstridge and Lynn Shay, a psychological horror called House of Abraham. So that plays in the Royal Lemley, opens on Friday, and it's there all week and beyond. And then it's going to sort of slowly roll out across the country. We just opened in New York here this past week, so that was great.
I think it's very excited. So first of all, are you a horror fan in general?
I am a horror fan in many ways. I mean, as an actor, which is what I primarily do, I've been in many horror projects. That's how I met Lynn, actually. That's how I met Natasha originally. And I'm just attracted to the horror genre because it's one of those things that as an artist, the rules are sort of out the window. You can explore many different thematics in many different ways because you're not bound by sort of the earthly realms, so to speak. You can push the boundaries a little bit, and that's what we certainly did with House of Abraham.
So this show originally started because I was friends with a lot of 80s stars. My husband was friends with the older stars, like he was friends. Jane Russell was his best friend. He knew Bette Davis and Elizabeth Taylor and all those people. And I was really friends with like the Corey Feldmans and the Corey Haim and all the people from the 80s. And this show actually started 18 years ago. So I would have a show to promote all those cool 80s people. So we've had everybody from the 80s on, every horror person possible. We've had everybody who's played Jason. We've had Freddy Krueger. We've had Pinhead, Clive Barker, everybody, that's been big in horror. Even last week we had Uwe Boll, who's a real controversial director, and he was on the show 14 years ago, and we had him on again last week.
Wow.
Which is a lot of fun. So I'm a huge horror fan. I collect action figures. I have action figures of everybody who's been on the show. Plus, I have like a 7-foot Jason, and I have a Krampus that's like 8 feet big, and a life-size Chucky, and I literally have, probably, close to 20,000 action figures.
Wow, that's amazing. I've been out to some of the horror cons, and I see they sell figurines and all kinds of
love that stuff, and I have everything. I have tons of like autographed stuff. Like my favorite horrors. Actually, my favorite actor is Lance Henriksen. I'm not sure why. He's getting older now, but and one of my coolest experiences was I was at a convention. So when I was a clothing designer, I used to be a clothing designer. I would take clothes and give it away to all the people if they would like come, and that's how I built the podcast.
Oh wow!
Like I was on, and within 6 months, I had Malcolm McDowell, Lance Henriksen, Clive Barker, Expose, the singing group. I had Gary Wright, Dreamweaver Gary. I had all these people because I would go and meet them at the conventions, give them clothes, become friends, and then they would come on the podcast. And my most prized possession. So Lance Henriksen from Alien makes these tiles, and it's the alien monster tile that he's ceramic tiles. and he doesn't sell them, but they're like, if you see them on eBay, they're like thousands of dollars. And he just gave it to me at the end of the weekend. He wrote, "You're the coolest fucker I ever met," and he signed it and gave it to me. And that's like my, most prized possession.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Yeah, I've come across quite a few of these horror icons over my career of working in front of the camera. I've acted with some of these lovely folks, and it's a real community. I mean, I also do sci-fi, and I am interested in drama and so forth. So it's not just horror for me, but
no, you've done everything, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, sure. But I've met a bunch of fantastic people that are high sort of icons in the horror world, and I've been fortunate enough to work with some of them. So we'll probably touch on some of them later.
So let's talk about House of Abraham. So first of all, you wrote this, you star in it because you play Abraham. It's called House of Abraham, so you must be the star of it. Lynn Shay, who was on our show about 12 years ago, and she is probably the most understated, well-known horror actress that there is, character actress. I mean, she doesn't brag about it, but she's been, she does big movies. She's in like all the biggest horror movies that there are. She's a phenomenal actress. She's super cool. Did you cast this film since it was your film, or how did you like work out casting it?
So it was a mix of things. Like Lynn Shay is, in my mind, a complete rock star, right? She is.
I agree.
Incredible talent. She's a powerhouse. She comes on set with a million different ideas, and it's just about trying to sort of hold her back, this amazing racehorse of talent, and then every now and then letting her power set loose and the freak flag fly, so to speak, because she is incredible to watch. And so that was the only role I wrote with somebody in mind. Like, I had Lynn Shay in mind because I'd worked with her before. I was confident I could get the script to her, and I was of course hoping that she would like it and come on board. And she was the first one we cast. I made this with my collaborator Lisa Belcher, who ended up directing the film. We produced it together. She produced it essentially out of Austin. That's where we shot it. And so I brought on Natasha Henstridge, who I've worked with before as well, a very dear friend of mine, someone whose talent is immense as well. Of course, you know her from Species and Ghost of Mars, all those incredible films. And she is.
That's funny that you just said that too, because literally I was on Facebook right before Ron had his problem. I just sit here because I'm waiting for the show to start, and there's a big somebody posted a big thing about Ghost of Mars, and I was like, oh my gosh, Natasha Henstridge, because I forgot she was in that, and that movie got panned as a terrible movie, but I liked it.
I thought it was great as well. And listen, I can watch Natasha read the phone book. She's just that good. And so you said before that I'm the star of House of Abraham. Although I'm the title character of it, I'm really the antagonist, and really Natasha is the core of this movie. She holds it together. She's the heart of the movie. She's the protagonist, and she. I sent the script to her. She's a wonderful human being, which is also no nonsense. And because we're friends, it's a little tricky sometimes when you sort of send somebody a script and it's like, so I was like, listen, no pressure at all, but take a read and see if you're interested. And I think you could be right for this. I think you would knock it out of the park. And she got back to me within a day. She loved the script. And so she was on board as well. And she's been such an amazing partner in this production. So between Natasha, Lynn, and myself, we then, with Lisa, the director, we created an incredible supporting cast out of Austin mainly. We had one fantastic trans actor, Marvel Rex, who's based in LA. One of the characters is a trans character, and we were adamant we wanted a trans actor for that. And so Marvel, we found through social media. Lisa found him, actually. And he was incredible as well. And so we've just been very, very lucky with our cast. But apart from Lynn and Natasha, it was all Lisa who brought the cast on.
So, that's a great thing about social media, because I've met so many like wonderful friends. I have one friend who's always usually in the chat room, but she's on vacation, Cindy Lady Lake, and she's a music promoter. And now she's actually doing marketing on one of the films I'm working on. And I've never met her. I've talked to her every week for 15 years, but I've never met her.
Wow. Okay.
I've Zoomed with her and I know what she looks like and everything, but
it's like the modern pen pal.
Yeah, it's like the modern pen pal. And I think that and that's how I basically get all the guests for the show. I really don't like to go through agents and managers because they make everything difficult,
Sure. I think that's very smart. I think that's also part of your energy, is like, it's very open, it's very flowing. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we like to just have it fun. So I think that the fact that you have Lynn Shay is great. I'm going to tell you a little Natasha Henstridge story. So I've produced a bunch of films. I think I have about 40 films I've produced. Wow. And I had this film called Get Her. And I guess Chris Browning and Michael Jai White were going to be in it, and I asked Chris Browning, because I know he's friends with her, if he could get her to do it. And and just so you know, so the movie never got made. We made a like a 10-minute short, and the funding fell through at the last minute, and the whole thing fell apart. So it didn't matter that she didn't do it. But like, we gave her the script, Chris gave her the script, and politely came back and basically said, she said no, and I was like, she thinks it's shit, right? And so your film has to be good, because she doesn't do just any film.
No, absolutely not. No, she
good
is
quality films.
100%. 100%.
And
her and Chris are more than friends, by the way. They're an item. So just
I think back then, though, they were just dating. I know they're an item now, and Chris has been on the show. He's been on the show a bunch of times.
And he's another incredible actor as well. And he came on location with us, and he was very supportive and a really great presence to have around us on set.
I know he's a great guy, and he's a super talent. We had a blast with him on the show.
Yeah,
I think that because this is several years ago now that's happened, and I think they were dating, but I don't know. Well, at least if they were more than dating, nobody knew it yet.
Right. But now I feel confident I can say that, because I on Instagram there are pictures of them together. So I'm not ruining anybody's illusions or
I think they're both
spilling the beans.
They're both super talented to have them. So can you give us without giving too much away, can you give us a little bit of idea of what is the story about the House of Abraham? Don't give away anything.
Yeah, of course. It's in the psychological horror genre, and it's basically House of Abraham is about Abraham, who takes in 6 people every weekend and makes their end of life happen, so to speak. So it's basically people arriving there to unalive. And in this particular weekend, the lead protagonist, Natasha, comes in with a secret agenda that changes everything. So it becomes a thriller horror movie.
I love it.
Yeah, it's very dark. It's very, you're going to see things you haven't seen in other films before. It was fun to watch the screenings here in New York, and people were literally either hiding their faces, looking away, or definitely coming up to me afterwards and asking, am I insane for writing this? So there is that. I don't think I am, but there you go.
Those are the best stories. And, and also, it sounds different. Like, because if Ron was here, his whole thing is he can't stand, like, even last night we watched the Stepfather, which, there's one in the 80s, and then there's the one that came out in 2009. He's like, it's the exact same thing. One person goes and just kills everybody, and I make a lot of slasher films because that's what sells.
Sure. I understand.
And, where people do it, but he's just like, I would really like some stories that, at least have a real story and that are just a little bit different, not just, everybody just goes to camp and then everybody gets killed.
Right, and exactly, and this was my sort of premise setting out writing it, right? Because when people come up to me and asking me, how do you come up with your scripts? And I said, I always tell them to write from the heart. In this case, it was written from the heart, but also from the head, right? The heart part was, I wanted to explore manipulation. I think like we see that across the country today, how people are being manipulated by wealthier people, more powerful people, hypothetically. So I wanted to explore this notion of be careful who you trust when you're at your most vulnerable, right? So that was the heart of it. So more than anything, this film tackles manipulation in many different shapes or forms, and that's what we're exploring. And then from the head, as you said before, slasher film sells. I mean, the genre of horror is very big in the indie movie industry because it's tough to get any attention. And so we knew we wanted to make it in the horror world, but I didn't want to write something I'd seen a million times before of people arriving at a house and dying off one by one. We've all seen those. So I wanted to take a spin on that. And then I think your best shot as an indie filmmaker, actor, writer is to do something Hollywood would never touch. So I was very adamant to come up with something that Hollywood wouldn't do. Because if they want to do it, they can do it bigger and better. Bigger money, bigger stars, everything else. So I think your best shot as an indie filmmaker is to do something a little bit outside of the box.
Oh, no, I love that. I actually have a feature that I'm raising money for now called The Legend of Bunny Man. And I actually have action figures and stuff already made, which when I play your trailer, I'm going to pull it out and show you. I've made action figures. I want to compete with your Terrifiers and everything, but mine's an actual story. I think Terrifier is one of the most amazing franchises ever, but I think the movie is shit. All it is a clown.
I'll have to tell them. I just did a film with those guys, actually, the Levi brothers, Fuzz and the Lens Productions, and I'm in a horror film that's coming out next year called Pitchfork Retreat with Tony Todd and Dee Wallace, and Daniel Harris, all these big things, and they were the producers behind Pitchfork Retreat. So I'll have to tell them that Terrifier wasn't your big thing. I haven't, for full disclosure, I haven't watched them myself.
Okay.
So I certainly can't.
I don't think I think people who like to see blood and guts, because there's not really a story. It's just a
Right.
clown who goes around killing everybody. Hey, you know what? They marketed it brilliantly. It's
And
done.
they-
I mean, I
right,
give
and-
them 100% props for being the
Yes.
most successful indie horror film basically almost ever made.
Yes, and they
I
created
give
a.
them props,
They,
but it
they-
wasn't for me. It's for the people who just want to see heads flying and blood
Correct.
flowing and everything.
Absolutely correct. It was all about coming up with the special kills, and then they created Art the
Marketing.
Clown. They created a character that people dress up as now, and that's hard to do. I mean, there's
That's
a lot
what
of
I'm
people,
trying to do, and
yeah, a
that's
lot
why
of people. Yeah, a lot of people have tried that before and failed. It's very difficult to get that into the.
I'm going to
mainstream.
try it, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well,
but
best of luck to it.
I'm hoping. It's a lot of fun, so I'm hoping it'll all go well. But here's what I want to do with you. So I took the House of Abraham trailer off of YouTube
Sure.
so we could play it so everybody could see it. So here's what I
Great.
want to do. I want you to introduce it, and then our engineer Juan will play it. You hang on, and then we'll come back right after the thing plays. So go ahead and introduce it for us.
Right. So here is the trailer for House of Abraham. It's a dark psychological horror. You're going to see all the lead actors, the supporting cast in very tricky situations, and don't look away.
I am Abraham. Welcome to my house. I'm here to guide everyone with love, and if in the end anyone has a change of heart about what they came here for, that's absolutely fine. You all saw the bell outside. That is the bell of courage and support. When you are ready, you will ring it to gather the troops for your death.
Why are you doing this?
It's complicated.
What if I change my mind?
You won't.
I saw you, by the way. I saw you trailing Abraham to his lodge. Why?
I am Abraham. Welcome to my house.
I don't know what the fuck you're after, but don't screw this up for the rest of us.
She's trouble.
I don't think anyone can leave.
Death is what I signed up for.
This is closure.
This man has been orchestrating people's deaths for decades.
My house means a lot to me. Why sabotage what I'm trying to do here? Tell me what I need to hear! Say the word! I salute your courage. I wish you happiness on the next leg of your journey. Life is not for everyone.
That shit looks awesome.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
telling you, you look so good on screen. I'm
I
not kidding
appreciate
you.
it.
You should be like the next horror pinup, hot dude pinup, because I think that people are gonna love it. I think Natasha looks great.
I mean, Natasha is just stunning. I mean, it's just, and thank you for saying that, by the way. But it's definitely a dark movie. It's definitely out there. You're gonna feel seriously uncomfortable, which was my goal in writing this particular film.
And that's terrific because there aren't that many films that actually do that.
Right. I mean, I find myself very rarely scared at movies. Right. I can see a lot of beautiful set pieces, and I can see a lot of work going into all these films, but rarely am I really affected. And from what I could see this past week at screenings in New York, people are super uncomfortable, which is fabulous.
Which I love it. There's only one. I don't know. There's a film that came out a long time ago. It's called Martyrs, and and it's probably I could only watch it once. It's not even a movie I could actually watch again. It was made me so uncomfortable, and it was basically a movie about I think it's about the Catholic Church. But about these people and they put them through as much pain as they could go to see how much pain they could go to in the name of the Lord or something. And literally they peel all the skin off the lady's body so she's just like bones and veins and shit. And it was the grossest, creepiest thing ever. But other than that, I don't get because in a slasher movie, I don't get creeped out. I mean, it's unique kills.
Yeah. No, this is a very different thing because for me, I mean, at the heart of at the heart of any good writing for me and the heart of any good movie is drama. And then you can gussy it up in sci-fi, you can gussy it up in horror, but if you don't have characters rooted in good drama, good stakes, then you're just going to lean back and be entertained by the look of it, but you're not going to lean into the movie. So this is a very character-driven drama story set in horror. And so I think you're going to feel people squirm when they see some of the stuff that goes on here. And it's not bloody, it's not gory, it's worse because it's psychological. It's the dark side of human nature, and that, to me, is worse.
The people in the cage in the water freaks me out because drowning is one of my fears.
Telling you, that scene.
So that scene automatically, just watching it for what?
Yeah.
3 seconds, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
You're gonna feel out of breath. You're gonna feel out of breath for sure.
I love it. Okay, so I want to just show you this real quick because I haven't really shown this to people. So I made the action figures. I don't even have the movie funded, but the script is so good, and I basically have like half the cast of people who said if I get the funding, they want to be in it.
Sure.
So it's called Bunny.
Oh, wow.
This is the 3.5-inch action figure. And this is the 12-inch action figure.
Oh, super creepy. Wow.
But he's not just a normal slasher. I can't tell you the story yet.
Okay, but that's good. That's good. I like
it. But he does kill people, but not for no reason. Let's put it that way.
No, that's great. No, I'm looking forward to it. The Terrified people just had I think Screamboat came out as well, and they had they had a killer mouse or something. I didn't see that either, but
I didn't see it. I actually they asked me if I wanted to bring on the director, and I was like, I'll take the director if you can give me the stars.
Right.
And then they didn't do it. Then they came back later. And also they're part of Stream. I think it's called Stream.
Yes, Stream. Yeah, exactly.
Stream, which I had somebody from Stream on the show, and I know a lot of the people that are in it because I've been in horror such a long, like Danielle Harris and all those people you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
I know all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And
makes it a lot of fun.
Totally. Lots of good people.
So, do you have a favorite horror movie?
I do, but it's probably like it's old school because it's very hard for me now to get scared by a movie. But the classic, of course, is The Shining.
Yes, great.
I can watch that whenever that pops on. It's hard for me to turn it off, and I'm one of the people who believe that it's really Shelley Duvall's movie. Everybody always talks about Jack Nicholson, who nailed it, but I think without Shelley Duvall, and it comes back to this thing I just said before about character building. Without this vulnerability that Shelley Duvall is able to get across, that film would never have worked. So she's the one who holds it together, and she's the one who makes you lean into this. And then you can be amused and amazed at Jack Nicholson's flashy and fabulous performance. But it's really Shelley that makes you feel.
She was such a great actor too. And she did one film before she died recently.
I know of the director. Yeah, I know the director who put that together. Yeah, and managed to finally get a hold of her. Who she was a real recluse, but managed to get in her inner circle and shoot something with her.
Big deal. Do you live in New York then?
I live in New York, so all these are sort of New York peeps. So I'm doing this from Manhattan as we speak. But yeah,
that's perfect.
And I think as one of the more modern films, it's still an oldie at this point that works for me would be The Ring. The remake actually of The Ring I thought was super well constructed and built and acted. Naomi Watts in the remake of The Ring. Which is rare that remakes work, but that one I thought was fantastic. And I'm a big supporter of Blair Witch. I know a lot of people now snicker at it and say it's not all that, but that film created a whole subgenre.
Oh my gosh, that film.
So when that came out, it was the first of its kind. It was the first one to use the internet with fake news, so to speak, about all the.
I loved it. I had to take Dramamine though because the shaky camera thing upsets my stomach.
Got it.
I actually took Dramamine before I went to go see it, but I actually like it.
Yeah.
And I met the director of it at an event one time, and I think The Rings, they're okay for me. My favorite horror movie. Maybe it's just because I was friends with like half the cast, but my favorite horror movie is The Lost Boys.
Oh, okay, sure.
I love it. I'm an extra in it, and I've just always loved it. And Brooke McCarter, who played Paul, he's the one who gets killed by the dog in the bathtub. Was a very, very good friend of mine. And Corey Haim, used to wear matter of fact, I still talk to Corey Haim's mom, but I had given him a bunch of my Jimmy Star clothes back in the day. Awesome. And they actually sold all that stuff on eBay to pay for his funeral.
Sure.
And,
wow.
Unfortunate, but so that holds. It's kind of weird because horror is my favorite genre, but I do have my handful of movies that are my favorite movies. Like when I was single and I would go on a date, You know, if somebody didn't like the movie Pretty Woman, I wouldn't go out.
Well, we all have our deal breakers, right? We all have our deal breakers. For me, it's
that's like
probably,
my fantasy, beautiful, fabulous film.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. No, but listen, we all love different things, and that's the beauty of art. It's so subjective, and so people respond to different things, and people, you know, love different things. I'm not into vampires. I'm not into zombies, so that's just not my thing. So, you know, psychological, paranormal activity, I love that as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
a
a
good one
whole.
too.
I like the sort of quieter, eerier, more than like the showy films, I suppose.
So now, how will people be able to see House of Abraham? Is it going to have a theatrical? You said it's going to be going out. So is it having a theatrical release?
Yeah, it's having a theatrical release. So it just opened in New York here. It's been playing all week in New York in the cinema, in a cinema here. And then it opens in the Royal Lemley in LA on Friday. And it's going to play there. And then we're slowly going to roll it out in the bigger cities around the country before eventually it'll hit streaming. But you know, it's a rare opportunity to get theatrical distribution. So we were thrilled that this was a possibility, and it helps awareness about the streaming thing, because it's very difficult for indie films to get noticed anywhere. So anywhere you can, in any way you can get the word out, the more helpful it is.
I know. I think it's genius if that you got a theatrical release.
No, we've been super fortunate with it. We have a fantastic distribution company, Abramarama, behind us, and Lisa is the producer director, is an incredibly hard worker and talent, and so she's been doing all that hard work in post, which, you know, a lot of filmmakers, I go out to a lot of different film festivals because I'm also a filmmaker myself, and I have a short film I just finished called Up Close that's coming around the country now. And you go out and you see a lot of these writer filmmakers, they think all the work is in pre-pro and shooting, and then they sort of lose that end game. But that's really where a lot of the work begins, where you're exhausted from making the film, but like the post game is where you, particularly for features, for shorts it's different because the festival.
Nobody gets that. Nobody thinks about what they're going to do with the film when it's finished, and that's a big
that's
mistake.
A huge part. Yeah, it's a huge part of the puzzle.
I actually make sure that all my films that are over $1 million have at least $500,000 for like
in pre-sales or something.
No, just $500,000. I mean, have $500,000 to market it.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely.
Nobody ever has any money to market it. I'm a publicist, is my everyday job.
I see.
Money.
Yeah,
I'm a publicist, and people will come to me and they'll be like, "Oh, I have this movie, and it'll probably make a ton of money. You know, will you do the press for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, do you have a budget?" And they'll be like, you know, no, not really, but we'll give you part on the back end. I was like, if you don't have any money for marketing and promotion, there ain't going to be a back end.
That's exactly right, because it's the equivalent of a self-published book. It doesn't mean your book is bad. It just means you're going to give copies to friends and family, for 120 copies to friends and family, and then nobody's going to find it. You can put it on Amazon, you can put it on Apple, but nobody will find it. So it's very tricky.
Go there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So you have a couple. So we actually have a movie, not really like in common, but it's like our 6th Degree of Separation.
Okay.
You did a Mahal Brothers movie, The Art of the Dead.
I did. Yes.
And were you at the premiere for that?
I was.
So we were there. So we didn't meet you, but we were there.
Okay. Yeah, I was there with Richard Grieco and Tara Reid.
Richard Grieco's a really good friend of ours. He's been on the show a million times.
He's great.
Richard Grieco, Tara Reid, I met her there. Jessica Morris is in it, and she's a good friend of ours.
Yes, we played together. We played husband and wife in that movie.
Okay, and Robert Donovan's a good friend of ours, and they've all been on the show. You know.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Well, Robert Donovan is coming on Friday with Esther Goodstein, who helped produce Art of the Dead, and Rolf Konevsky, who directed and wrote this fabulous film. He's moved over to New York, and he was going to come to the screening in New York, but last minute couldn't make it. But we're all in touch. Like we're close family with all those wonderful people for sure.
Yeah, we see all of them. We're kind of like we all run the same red carpet. Like go to the premieres, you know, together, and they all come on the show. I love Robert Donovan to death. I think
he's the ultimate gentleman as well, and he can really do anything. I think he's incredibly gifted.
He's incredibly gifted, and that was our very first Mahal Brothers film premiere that we went to, and then we became friendly with them, and they invited us to all of them, and so we've been to all of them since then.
Right,
and, unfortunately, the passing.
Yes, was very sudden and very sad. So shout out to the Mahals for sure.
But I hope that they keep it all going. I know they have a film going, but anyway, that's our 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah, yes, and I did a film with Rolf Konevsky before. Out in LA called The Black Room, and that's how I met Lynn Shay, and that was my second film with Natasha. And so So there are deep ties with all these horror films. In some way, they all connect, right? Because a lot of these actors sort of are big in the horror world. And Tiffany Shepsis is somebody else I've worked with on The Black Room, for instance. And
she's been on our show too. I don't
she
really
is fantastic.
know her, though. She was on our show like the first year that we were on the air, and I haven't really. I don't know why we don't ever run into her anywhere.
Well,
like
she's always working. I mean, she's always working. Yeah, she's
a great actress.
Oh, for sure.
I made a list of some of the other stuff that you've done. First of all, you're on the Blacklist, which I only watched the first episode of it, and then my problem is I have to watch whoever's coming on the show. I try to watch something of theirs.
Sure.
And so I haven't had a chance to see it. But the Blacklist, James Spader, I believe, is one of the greatest actors ever to live.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, it's network TV, right, which has its pros and cons, and for sure it was an absolute blast to be the bad guy on the Blacklist for over 2 seasons. It was really fun, but network TV is one of those things where it's incredible exposure. You work with incredibly talented, qualified people, but it's not collaborative in the sense that everything is moves on it's timed, it's speed, it's all about not messing up, and so I got into acting because I like collaborating with other crazy creatives, and so TV is not that. Network TV is not that. So it was a different exercise. It was an exercise in concentration. It was great for exposure. It's helpful for the bank account.
They don't like it. They don't like it though if you mess up. Like
no.
You mess up, no big deal. But
correct. You cannot mess up. That'll be noticed. So it's terrifying in many ways, right? So it's really an exercise in not losing your confidence on set, because then you're done for, right? And you're acting with all these big names, and so you just gotta keep your calm. So it's really an exercise in sort of making sure you're solid in yourself, and that's also why they're very careful about who they bring on as recurring characters, because they don't want actors who are going to freak out and freak out on the day or whatever. They just don't have time for that. So it is a matter of building up your credits with a co-star and a guest star and eventually a recurring and so forth. So it's very structured on network TV that way. So it was a fabulous experience, and I've been recognized more for that than for any of the other films that I've done in total. Like the reach of TV is nuts. In South Africa, when I was down there, in Australia, people recognized me. So TV has a lot of power still.
So let me ask you a question, because we're really good friends with a lot of soapies. We call them soap opera stars. Like Sean Kanan's a very good friend of ours, and he was in Bold and the Beautiful and General Hospital, and then he's in Cobra Kai and Karate Kid and all. And he does a lot of cool indie films. And he says, basically like the day before they'll give you like 40 or 50 pages, that you gotta like learn, for the next day.
I mean, not quite that many, but yeah, they will.
That was my question. Do they give you because he's like, I can do 40 pages in like an hour. And I was like,
right. For full disclosure, I've never done soap work, not because I think I'm better than it, just because I'm too tall for soaps, because they only build sets a certain height, and if I'm in with a co-star, it's hard to find a 2-frame. I'm 6'4".
How tall are you? Oh, wow, you're a big guy.
So soaps just never. They brought me in a couple of times, but they never worked out, mainly because of my height, I'm pretty sure. And so, but they're renowned for giving people pages the night before, the day before. But even on the Blacklist, you had to. I knew my lines inside and out for the same reason we talked about. You don't want to mess up, but they might give you an adjustment and a new line on the day. So you can't be so stuck in your words that you're not flexible, right? So you have to come in relatively nimble on your feet, relatively open, and then see what they throw at you on the day, because things may change. So, so even in shows like that, things can change last minute.
I love it. I don't think I could do TV. I don't act anymore. I'm a really shitty actor. I've been in I've been in about 150 or 200 like indie films and stuff, but I really suck. And I know I suck, but because I have millions of followers and millions of people who watch the show, people are always contacting me. Hey, will you be in the movie? Because they want me to talk about it in my social media.
Oh, I see. Yeah, of course.
So it's not because I'm any good. My husband, on the other hand, phenomenal actor. Me, I suck, but I'm a really good producer. So
that's great. Well, that's a skill set in its own. I mean, we need good producers too. So
and basically, unless you're a big star, the producing is where the money is.
No, listen, it's
So I'm all about the producing part of it. And so
I think that's smart.
We've worked it out that he does the acting and I do the producing. and I think that it works out really well, and it's a lot of fun. And that
Now,
way
when-
we don't
yeah.
compete for anything.
Now,
We
when you
don't-
can find that partnership with somebody on and off screen, that's super helpful. I mean, that's key. And you know, if you can work with people that you really get on with, or even friends with, it makes the experience so much better. You know, I'm great friends with Natasha, is one of my closer friends, and I'm great friends with Lisa, the director. I've good friends with Rolf Konevsky, who directed those films, and so forth, and Robert Donovan. So when you work with people that you're close with, it's just you have an ease and a trust on set that you don't have to try to create or build.
There's
So you have a
synergy. There's a
yeah,
synergy.
yeah, exactly. So you already have a heads up, you know. And when we shot House of Abraham, myself and Natasha shared a house close to set. So every night after a really long day of shooting, we'd go back home, we'd cook together, we'd get a gin and tonic and talk about the day, and then run lines for the next day. And it was like 3 weeks of that was just a gift. It was, you know,
Phenomenal.
it's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
I love it. I hope the film is a really big hit.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
You've
it.
actually worked with some people in different things that I really like. First of all, Fire Island was great, actually.
Sure. Yes.
So Connor Paulo, how do you pronounce it? Connor Paulo.
Sure.
Jonathan Bennett, Timothy Murphy's been on our show. Robert Clohessy. But
Yeah,
then
Bob
he
is
did
great.
Slapface, which I haven't seen, but Mike Manning's been on the show, and I'm probably gonna
Mike
be
is another big soap actor, but he's so much more than that. He's incredibly gifted and also a producer in his own right.
Yes.
Jeremiah
Good.
Kipp, who's a very good friend of mine, directed and wrote Slapface, and so Mike has been a great presence on set. Really, just an honor working with him, and yeah. So you come across incredible people
So
throughout
how
this
was
industry.
Dan Hedaya? How was Dan Hedaya? Did you get
Dan
to-
Hedaya, yes, I had a scene with him. Dan is you know, such a pro. Like let's say he's not a young man anymore. Let's put it that way. And but he just exudes so much gravitas and so much charisma. So when he's on set, like everybody's extra focused and extra on. And he was just a gentleman, just a real gentleman. And he had a tough scene, like kind of physical to do when I was in it. And he was a trooper. You know, he did it over and over. And it was just great to see someone of his stature on a production.
I love Dan Hedaya. So
Yeah.
as you can probably tell, since my husband's 25 years older, that I have a thing for like older men.
Got it.
Dan Hedaya is like in my top 10 like secret crushes. You know, like if I could like go on a date and talk to them,
Right.
he's one of them. I just think there's something about him that is so
Yes.
cute.
Well, I'm happy I don't have to dispel anything because he is all that. So your crush is very valid.
There you go. That makes me happy. And then we have Rich Boy, Rich Girl, and I'm bringing it up because we've had Elaine Hendricks and Sean Whalen have both been on the show. And we met Kristen Bauer, but she didn't come on the show. Sasha Jackson. Really, you have quite a variety of different kinds of films because you did that one. And then Borstal Boy with Sean Hattasey. I'm going to try to get him on the show. I love Sean
Fantastic.
Hattasey.
Yeah, that was my
I love
first-
Michael York. I love Michael York.
Michael York. Michael York is an interesting story because I grew up in Denmark. I'm from Denmark originally, and I grew up having like 3 VHS tapes from films that I had recorded back in those days. And I had Where Eagles Dare, Sound of Music, and Cabaret. And Cabaret to this day is still my all-time favorite film. I think it was way ahead of its time in terms of editing and storytelling, and I thought Bob Fosse did an incredible job. But so I grew up watching Michael York on my little TV in Denmark in this rural town somewhere. Cut to, you know, I go to Trinity College for acting in Dublin, Ireland, and I get cast in this film, Borstal Boy, and here I am hanging out with Michael York on set. Like, and it just showed me that anything is possible. Like this person that I'd seen and revered on my TV screen as a 10, 11-year, 12-year-old boy in Denmark, now I'm working with him on a set, and it was such an incredible experience. A gentleman and just a pleasure to be around. So that was my first real film experience. It was right after acting school I got that role in Borstal Boy.
That's so amazing, actually, and it's so cool. So did you always know you wanted to, you know, go into entertainment when you were like a young child?
I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid, and I have a screenplay that just won out in Brooklyn Film Festival best screenplay called Astronaut. So I've created that script
For yourself, yes.
I may not be in it, but it's certainly in that world. But I think once I realized A, I was too tall for being an astronaut, and B, it involved being, weightless and probably nauseous half the time, I said that's probably not for me. But I had a school teacher, like the classic story. I had a school teacher who put on plays at my school. We had a proscenium arch, like a theater in the school. So that was the thing you did. And from early age, I knew I was better than my sort of friends at it, maybe because I loved it more or whatever. And so once time came to finish high school, I was like, well, let's give this a shot. A well-known writer came to see our graduation show, and she pulled me aside and said, I think you should take this seriously, and set me up with a fabulous Danish actor with some private lessons. And then I auditioned at Trinity College and got accepted. Moved to Ireland knowing no one, and before I knew it, I was in the trenches of acting school and got cast straight away out of acting school in a traveling theater around Ireland. So got my theater chops, well practiced very, very quickly. And so after a while, I decided New York was it. I was sort of a little over theater in some ways and wanted to get into more TV and film. And that's how New York came to be since 1996 now.
Oh, so you've been there a long time.
I've been there a long time. I live here in New York with my lovely husband, who is a psychiatrist, and we've been here. Yeah, we've been together almost 21 years.
Good for you. Ron and I have been together 13 years, but I was with someone else for 25 years before that. Who was a psychiatrist, by the way.
Oh wow, there you go. Yeah. Listen.
And Ron's from Brooklyn, so he's actually from Brooklyn. And Jeff Caperton in the chat room, he's a producer I'm working with on 3 projects. He's an Emmy-winning producer, and he says Sasha Jackson is awesome. She's a great friend. I don't know if that's a she or a he, but great friend.
That's from a Rich Boy British Girl, an incredible actress. I think she was in Blue Surf or something too, or something. She just a trooper, just incredibly charismatic, a sweetheart on set, and very, very talented. Yeah,
I love it. So here's something I like to ask all the different people who come on, who are especially actors. So like a bucket list, you've already, done a lot of cool things. So it's a 2-part question. Number 1, male and female actor that would be like on a bucket list. They can be living or dead, that you would like to have been able to have or that you would like to have an opportunity to work with. And then, if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made, what movie would you have liked to have been in?
Wow, that's such a fabulous question. Wow, that's a tough one though, boy. Well,
you can give me a few people if you want.
Okay, no, I think I'll give you a few people. I think the classic actor that I grew up with, that I had, you had Dan Hedaya crush. I had a Cary Grant crush for sure, and so I've always had a special thing for him when he got sort of into his later films in particular. I thought he really developed his skills. So I wished I had a chance to not only meet him, but also work with him. I think he'd be fun on set. I think
that's my husband's favorite, just so you know.
Really? There you go. I think someone like Marilyn Monroe, I think, is vastly underrated as an actress. I think she's more than just a beautiful face and a funny voice. I think she is actually really really gifted as an actress. She's very detailed in what she does, and that vulnerability that she gets across, I think, is admirable. So those are sort of 2 of the more silver screen stars that I sort of hearken back to. But in modern day, I think someone whose career I would love to emulate or to have a similar career as is someone like Mark Duplass. Yes. He's an actor and a writer and a director. He created Creep 2. He's been on The Morning Show as an actor, and he's just a super humble, smart, down-to-earth indie kind of guy. And I really aspire to someone like him. He's just, there's nothing that he can't do. And I feel like I'm solid as a writer, I'm solid as an actor, and as a filmmaker, I still have to do my first feature as a director. So I'm still waiting for that to happen. I'm in the process of making those wheels turn with 2 different projects right now. So we'll see if those come together. But that's sort of my next trajectory, is to direct my first feature, because I've done a lot of shorts, and I have this. My new short is just going around the film festival circuit now, coming up, called Up Close. It's coming to LA in the fall, in a film festival there. So yeah, so different things. But so Mark Duplass, and then a female now. I mean, there's so many good ones. The classic, obviously, is Meryl. You can't not want to not work with her. I would love to experience what that presence is like, because I think she's hilarious as a person, and people who are known as being serious actors but off screen are very funny tend to be the best ones, because they have a lot of nuance. And I think Meryl is one of those who can probably be in the moment very well. And that's always more exciting as an actor when you're with somebody who's present. And you can tell it straight away when you get on set if somebody's going through their lines in the head, or if they can actually manage to be in the moment and see what magic you can come up with right then and there.
I love that. I'm not. I mean, for me, Meryl Streep is just like okay. Ron, being really good friends with Jane Russell, she used to tell him all kinds of stories about Marilyn from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Oh wow!
And I think it was cool. And for me, Cary Grant, like of the older actors, would be my second favorite. My first favorite is Gary Cooper.
He's a slightly older, right? More Western, but yeah, exactly.
I really know about this. So he did this movie, and now I don't even remember the name of it because I'm on the spot. But basically, he does this movie where he's gets divorced and meets his daughter's best friend, and he's staying in his daughter's house, and the best friend comes, and they start an affair, and they have there's like a 30-year difference, and it's like a May-September relationship movie, and then at the end, it doesn't work out, and he basically drinks himself to death because he was so in love with her. But it's a phenomenal movie.
Wow.
And I just think he's like, smoking hot. But those are the two. Like they're both, and actually, so we live in Palm Springs, and Cary Grant has a house here. It even says, that's Cary Grant's house and everything on the front of it. Somebody bought it about 4 or 5 years ago for like $4 million or something.
Sure.
And fixed it up, and it's beautiful because
that's amazing.
All the old people have houses here. Elizabeth Taylor had a house. Everybody had a house.
Sure. Yeah, I mentor once a year at a writers retreat called Cinestory. It's for writers. They can send in scripts and then they get paired up with mentors, and that's up in Idlewild. And a lot of the Palm Springs people come up to Idlewild, and I was there and saw a lot of the Palm Springers up there. It was lovely.
I can't do the Idlewild thing because the drive up the mountain is so freaking
I
terrible.
know a lot of people are spooked out by it. For me, it doesn't bother me, but I totally hear. I had to drive a fellow rider up because she didn't want to drive, so I had to get into her car and get us up there.
I can't stand it. Oh, that's the one thing I absolutely just cannot stand. Okay, and wait, did you tell me a movie? What movie would you have liked to have been in?
Oh, what movie would I have liked to have been in? I suppose something spacey. I think I like the notion of sort of people together in a tight space. I think one of my favorite sci-fis is a film called Sunshine that Danny Boyle wrote and directed with Cillian Murphy and Dan Evans, and I like this notion of being sort of stuck in a space station or something. So probably Sunshine, or in the classic way, maybe The Abyss, which I heard was a disaster to make. I heard it wasn't very pleasant on set, but
good movie,
it's still a great product they ended up with. And of the old ones, it's hard. Some Like It Hot just seems like a hoot. I would have loved to have been on set for that one somewhere. Stick me in anywhere in that film. I would have had a laugh watching everybody work, I'm sure.
I love it. I think I have like a list of like I like a lot of not kid movies, but movies with younger people that for some reason, movies that don't do well, I always usually like them. Like as if, for instance, like I'm a huge Mariah Carey fan, and she did that movie Glitter, and it got panned as like the worst movie ever. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. As long as I have a good time, I'm okay with it.
Right.
So there's another movie called The Covenant about these warlock witches, guy witches, and it got panned, and everybody in it's a huge star now, but I love it. But Pretty Woman is probably like my.
That's one of those. It's hard to turn off once it comes on, right?
Yeah, once you get going with it.
Yeah, it's so iconic. It's one of those fabulous films that you can always watch. Absolutely. No, I totally understand that. Yeah.
And we watched North by Northwest a lot, and Rearview Mirror. What's it called? Rearview Mirror, I think, the one with Jimmy Stewart,
right?
Really good. I watch that every time it comes on because I like that a lot too. But I think it's all fun. So okay, so what do we have? So everybody, you guys, first of all, Lukas, you can follow him on Instagram. He's at Lukas Hassel. He actually posts a lot of stuff.
It probably posts too much, right?
Yeah, he posts a lot of stuff. Soon, hopefully coming to a city near you. If you're in a big city, you will see House of Abraham, where he writes it and plays Abraham with a great cast. I also wrote down Waitlist, a Love-ish story. That's not a horror movie, I'm going to assume.
No, that's the whole bunch of different things in the works right now. But I say the thing that's coming out that's going to be sort of getting a lot of attention is called Pitchfork Retreat, directed by a good friend of mine, Gregory Van Voorhis, and his sister Nicole. And that's the film that stars, Tony Todd, one of his last performances before he passed. Again, such a rock star, a gentleman on set, and just incredibly inspiring to watch him work. With Dee Wallace, who is an absolute sweetheart and can do anything. Danielle Harris, Adrian Barbeau is in it. There's a whole Terry Kaiser. There's a whole bunch of fabulous people in this very dark horror film that we've been filming over the last year and a half, and it's nearly finished. So it's going to come out most likely, I guess, spring of 2026. So Pitchfork Retreat, look out for that one.
I love it. I love Adrienne Barbeau. We had a blast with her when she was on the show, and she was super, super duper, a lot of fun. And Tony Todd's been on the show a bunch of times, and I actually used to give him a bunch of my Jimmy Star shirts back in the day, and he would wear them at conventions and stuff. And his sister, which I don't know if it's his blood sister, Monique Dupree, but she always introduces him as her brother, and he doesn't, say no. But anyway, she's been on our show a bunch of times also, and his passing was really, really, really sad and
really shocking
for the movie community, but especially the horror community, because he's such an icon.
Yeah, big loss.
So it was a big loss. But okay, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I've had a blast. I really hope your movie House of Abraham blows up and everything goes well. Good luck on Friday. Safe travels.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. And I appreciate you having me on and finding me on Instagram and supporting indie movies. And if my long hair helped me get on your show, I'll take it.
There you go. Take it. And when the other movie comes out next year, we'll bring you back. Just let me know. We'll bring you back. I'd love to have you again.
Brilliant, Jimmy. Thank you so much. And all the best to your husband with his knee.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. So Lukas was great. What a cool guy. I liked him a lot. It was a lot of fun. And in the meantime, we're going to take a quick music break, you guys. I hope everybody's well. This is Stevie B. The name of the song is Take It All Back. I don't think we'll get flagged for it. So check it out, because Stevie B's also been on the show, and the song's a lot of fun. So enjoy it, everybody.
Stevie B. Go back, way back. From the minute that I seen you, I was sweating you like a freshman as a senior. I couldn't even sleep, waiting for the next day just to see you, girl, just to see you. When you walk by my heart, it skipped the beat like a scratch CD. I was knee deep in them 4 letters L-O-V-E, sprung on Sting Love. Damn, she got me.
Take it all back. Do you remember way back time when the world was so uptight, and hot damn I miss it. Hot damn I miss it. We were young, we were wild and free. All I wanted was a move of feet, and hot damn I miss it. Hot damn I miss it. We looked around and everybody was getting down. No one on the wall and standing up in the crowd. We put our problems upon our shelves and enjoyed ourselves. I know it helps if we take it all back to how it used to be. It only you and me, it's all love. We can take it all back. You're breaking in the streets and falling love to the beat. We don't want it. We can take it all back. Your body, make you do the right way. Your body, dancing to the morning light. Your body, moving till you want some more. Your body, take it all back to this Friday night. Hot Wheels on Miami was you and I. Hot damn, I miss it. Good times, no static. Southeast is something right. Little heat to the mix, make dynamite. Freestyle was solid. Couldn't tell us nothing. We put the groove sound love on the radio. Now 96 to 10 and made us unstoppable. This singing music never gets old. It should move your soul. I know you know. If we take it all back to how it used to be, it only you and me, it's all love. If we can take it all back, you're breaking in the streets and falling love to the beat. We don't want. If we can take it all back, dreaming of love, thinking of you. rock to the rhythm. Take it all back, back to the good times, weekend nights. We got fly to when we walk to daylight. If I could, I'd press rewind to 85 and make sure you're by my side, so we can go back to how it used to be. Ain't only you and me, it's our love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets, fall in love to the beat. We don't know if we can take it all back.
Go back, way back.
If we take it all back.
I don't understand.
Take it all back. If we take it all back to how it used to be, ain't only you and me, it's our love. If we can take it all back to breaking in the streets, fall in love to the beat. We will know if we can take it all back. If we take it all back.
We need more bottles. We need more bottles.
Take it all back.
So that was Stevie B. You guys take it all back. I have to say, I really miss the freestyle days of music, how much fun that was. So I think I wish it would come back, actually. Instead of us having to go back to it, I wish it would just come back to us. But anyway, now we're going to bring on our next guest. Let's bring on Gino Alfonso. I think he's in the green room. Hey!
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Long time no see. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have been on here before, right?
Yeah, with Joe Kelly when we were first promoting Compatible. Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't even know that it was for Compatible. I thought maybe it was for one of the Clown Motel movies or something, because I was just like, I knew you, and I know we're Facebook friends and all of that, but I just wasn't sure when you were on before. So, all right, let me do a little intro. All right, everybody, now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, missing Ron Russell today. We want to welcome writer, director, and producer Gino Alfonso. Hello, and welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me again. Good to be here.
So where are you actually located?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, that's why. I couldn't figure out. I was like, why did Joe do the Compatible premiere in Colorado when like everybody lives someplace else? And now that makes sense.
Yeah, it was about 80% of the cast and crew was Colorado, and then everyone else was either through the Kickstarter campaign or people that he brought on from California. So we had an even mixture of
So a lot of people were from Colorado that went to the premiere then.
Correct. Yeah, and a lot of people came back for the premiere from California. Eileen and Larry Butler and Joe. So yeah, it was good to see everybody again.
So how do you like living in Colorado?
It's been great. I've born and raised here, 41 years. It's some areas are better than others, but it's definitely a great state to shoot in, and a lot more flexibility as far as like permits, that kind of thing. So there's a little bit more leeway what you can do as opposed to LA and California in general.
Yeah, LA is not so flexible. I produce a lot of films, but we don't shoot too many of them in LA, or if we do, we shoot in the outskirts.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
Get out of LA proper. So do you ski?
I don't. I'm actually like one of the most inactive people, except when I'm on a set.
That's so funny because I don't anymore, but I used to love to go skiing when I was young.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm more of a coastal person with the beach and stuff. So.
And you live in Colorado.
Yeah.
That works. I love it. All right. So first of all, let's say hi to the chat room. There's a bunch of people in the chat room. So say hi to everybody in the chat room. So let's tell everybody a little bit about Compatible first, you guys. First of all, I wrote I wrote the little synopsis. I guess it's on IMDb, so I'm gonna read it, and then you tell us a little bit, kind of like what it's about and how it came together. Compatible. So you guys, the name of the movie is Compatible. It's not out yet, but it will be coming out soon. I guess we'll talk about that soon. Compatible dating site or nightmare? Emily Taggart joins Compatible, a new interactive dating app where viewers can judge your dates. At first, Greg gets perfect compatibility until he doesn't. Now, tell us, how did this whole thing come apart? Because I also noticed on IMDb it says you and Tammy Smith both directed it.
It was like an assistant directing kind of thing, but it was my first feature as a director.
Okay.
But she did help a lot on the project, as far as location scouting, things like that, stunts, and a bunch of different other things as well. But yeah, no, this was my first foray into feature films. I'd been doing shorts for a long time and finally decided to force myself to graduate from short films just because they weren't pulling in anything at all except a couple of awards. And, they were doing good for me for a little while, but I needed to push into the feature world. So I took a year off, came up with what I thought was a really easy, contained horror thriller, but it ended up being one of the most complicated films that I've ever shot. I was like, oh, I've solved Searching and Missing and Unfriended and all those. I'm like, I could do one of those, not realizing all the complexities that went into actually making one of those screen life type thrillers. You still have to shoot it like any other film to be able to get everything on the computer screen. Yes. So you're still doing all the regular stuff you would do on any other set. And then with the visual effects on the computer and stuff, that really added a lot more to it that didn't really come off on the page, but we had to find it in post. So that's why the post-production took so long, was because we had to really find the look and the style of the film, with a lot of the visuals that came with it, in between scenes with the actors and stuff like that. But some of those scenes are actually some of the most liked in the film from the premiere and from the trailer that we have out now.
So who plays? So I think so. Joe Kelly plays Greg, right?
Correct. He is the villain in the film, and he goes from 0 to 60 really quick.
So you guys, everybody knows Joe Kelly. He's been on the show a million times. He's the writer-director of the Clown Motel franchise, which Clown Motel 3 premieres in October. And who plays Emily Taggart?
Her name is Bergen Reese. She's a local here in Colorado. Compatible was, I believe, her like second or third independent film, but she's definitely an up-and-comer. We've been in contact recently, letting her know kind of what's going on with the film and that it's on its way to distribution and finally going to find a home, hopefully soon.
I love that. So you guys, here's a list of other people that are in. First of all, you guys, so Ron and I have a cameo in this, you guys. And we actually shot it when we were doing Clown Motel 2. So we shot it a long time ago. And Gino had contacted me on Facebook because he wanted to come on with Uwe Boll last week. And I said I already had a second guest. So I invited him to come on this week. And I asked him, did we make the final cut? And he said yes. So we're actually in this film. It's short and quick, but so we're in it, you guys. So you should see it definitely just for our little clip, because he said people laughed.
It was hysterical. You guys got a lot of good laughs. I think you're in it two or three times, like a couple of the clips that you're in.
I love that.
You got some really good laughs. So,
but besides us, you guys, because we've had almost like everybody in the cast just about has been on the show. We have Alyssa Dowling, you guys, is in it. Nicole Butler's in it. Minnie Robinson, Ari Lehman, Sean Phillips, Julianne Prescott, Eileen Dietz, Sherry Davis. All those people have been in it. In our show, Robert Bess is in it. G. Larry Butler's been on our show. Dietrich Thrall's been on our show. Ozzy Capri, Denny Nolan, Tammy Smith, Pat Kuznati's been on the show, and Johnny Parati even. I love Johnny Parati. You guys, he's Hammy in the Clown Motel, films. He's the fat, like, one who wears the pig face in Clown Motel, and he's hilarious. And Johnny Parati's one of the coolest guys ever. So you have basically, like, when I was like looking at it, I was like, gee, like probably half of these people, if not more, are in the Clown Motel franchise. Is that how you kind of met them, through working on Clown Motel?
Indirectly, yeah. So Eileen was actually the first one on the film, and we had shot like a little scene with her, but it wasn't fully developed yet as far as like the crew and stuff. And she kind of came on and said, "Hey, we're gonna kind of help make this a little bit bigger." And so she started to kind of rally some of the people that she knew, and she brought on Joe Kelly and Alyssa. And actually, Alyssa Dowling reached out to me when she heard the project was going and wanted to be in it. So once it started going, everyone wanted to be in it. I actually had to turn down a lot of people once we kind of had it cast and everything. I said, "There's no more roles."
I love it. Alyssa Dowling is a sweetheart, and we used to see her at events all the time. She moved to Florida, but we've worked with her on different films, and love her to death. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we actually
like
had
all
her.
these people. You don't have anybody in it that I don't like.
Yeah, we actually had her daughter on set for the pickup days that we shot out in California. And I was holding her daughter while mom was screaming on camera, and the daughter was watching the monitor like, "Is that really mommy?" Like, it was fantastic. So never thought I would direct a movie holding a baby, but there's that.
You got to do whatever you have to do. So then did you write this also? Did you come up with the whole idea, or who wrote it?
I did. Yeah, it was like I said, it was kind of at that time when I didn't know where to go with from short films to features, and I thought it would be something nice and contained, something easy. And it was to a point until we really started to have to get into the more technical side of things. And then that kind of heightened as we got more into post-production, and like we're really figuring out the complexities of the placement of the camera on the characters that they wore and the computer camera and all that stuff. There was a lot of back and forth on the technicalities of that.
And so now you had a premiere, but you have not secured distribution yet, so we don't know when we can see it.
Correct. We've got it out to a couple of people that are viewing it right now, just kind of weighing out the best offers and seeing who comes at us with the best home for it. All in all, we've got one company looking at it for potential worldwide distribution. Couple companies looking for a minimal theatrical release, because it really played well in front of an audience at the premiere. And I think if we even had a handful of screens, like 40 or 50, it would do pretty well.
I think it's great, and if you can get a theatrical release, that's really good. And I also think that also you just have to always be very careful, going into distribution, because so many distributors are crooked.
Yeah.
Which I know Joe Kelly knows, so he's helping. So you just got to be careful. So I actually took the trailer. I don't know. I don't know if there's more than one, but I took a trailer for Compatible off of YouTube so we could actually play it for everybody. So Juan, we're going to do the one that says Compatible official trailer, but I want you to do, Gino, is you just say who you are and then introduce the trailer, and then hang on, we're going to play it for everybody.
You bet. Again, I'm Gino Alfonso, the writer, director, producer of Compatible. And we are happy to share with you the updated trailer of Compatible, which is edited by Taylor Nickerson, who also was an editor on the Pirates of the Caribbean 5 trailers and the recent Father of the Bride, and he's done a million other movies. Kind of an unknown name, but you've seen his work. So hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Jean, and I will be your Compatible instructor.
We unveil Compatible, a revolutionary company that is redefining the rules of digital matchmaking.
Cheers to Compatible.
Compatible. And then she finds out I'm a horror fan.
I've been on Compatible for 2 weeks.
But our compatibility was really high.
It's such a violation of privacy.
Citizens have voiced their concerns.
Your sister tells me that you're dating somebody you met online.
Hey, Emily?
Oh, hey.
Hey, how are you, Greg?
Yeah.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
I need to report a kidnapping.
You gotta proceed with caution.
Shoot to kill.
I had the worst dream.
I'd like to introduce you to two people. Mommy. Hi, Mommy. Hi. And Daddy.
Be careful. Not everyone is who they say they are.
And Greg. So now, is that the most updated trailer, or is there another one?
No, that's the most updated one that
Okay,
Taylor
good.
did. Yeah.
I love it. I think it looks like a lot of fun, and I enjoy it so much because I know everybody in it. It's to me, it's
Yeah.
exciting just to see all my friends, actually do in a film together. I have to tell you, so I didn't know who what's her name. I didn't know who Bergen Reese was, but she looks terrific in the trailer, and she reminds me of Kristen Stewart. Did people tell you that?
I have not heard that, but I can see that. Yeah, I can see that a lot.
Kristen Stewart's one of my favorite actresses. Like, I think she's super cool. If I was straight, I think she's super hot, especially when she did Charlie's Angels with that short hair.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not straight, so she doesn't do anything for me. But I love her. I just
Same
love
here.
her as I love her as an actress, though. And even though the Charlie's Angels movie sucked, she was really good in it. And
Yeah.
so I'm a big fan of hers, and I could see Bergen, looking very similar to her.
Yeah.
And she could probably, if pursues this and she's good, she could probably have a good career.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she said she's been doing quite a bit of work, so I'm anxious to see what else she has coming out. We do have potential compatible 2. I've been starting the script called Emily's Revenge. So we're looking at going forward with that, just not sure when. We'll kind of see how the distribution goes. But I have other films, Harvest and Hostage, on streaming services, and my next film, Closing Shift, is in post-production. And I have another film coming that's a kids movie, actually, called The Vampire's Vacation, based on a book by Ron Roy.
I love that.
A lot of stuff coming out.
I think that in the day and age that we are right now, going into, just the way the world is, like doing family films and kids films and stuff is a really good way to go, because I don't think there's a lot of good, like, nice, fun content, for kids and families. I have a bunch of family films I'm working on. Unfortunately, for me at least, it's been difficult to raise money for family films. It's like people don't want to like put money into them, but I think it's an area that we need to have more.
Definitely.
More
Same
projects.
here.
And I think
I've
if you
been doing on my new TikTok page, kind of a how-to from the ground up, raising financing, doing the adaptation of the script, all
Sorry,
that.
you're talking, so I'm like, I don't think I follow you on TikTok, do I, Gino? What is your TikTok?
I just restarted my page. It had been down for a while when everyone had that scare that TikTok was going to go away for a while. So it was one of the few that that got rid of it, which kind of sucked because I had over 1,000 followers. Now I got to rebuild.
Are you Gino Alfonso 3, or who are you?
Genome, GINOME .films.
Okay, GINOME .films. Got it.
It's a picture of me at the premiere of Compatible on my profile.
Oh, you're following me. Okay, I'm following you back. I love TikTok. I get so much play. You guys, my TikTok is This Is Jimmy Stars, Instagram, and everything else. I'm gonna hit. I've hit on TikTok. I've got like 16 million plays on TikTok.
Oh wow, nice.
So I love TikTok and Instagram.
I'll tag you and everything then, just so I get
tag
more
me.
hits.
No, tag me, because I'll share it if I know that it's there. I'll share it, to the people and see. I don't have a huge following. I have like 40,000 followers or something. It's not huge like other people have, but
I think I'm only at about 50 right now, getting back up there. So
that's okay.
More than me for sure.
I think it's a lot of fun. I don't think anything's going to go away with TikTok. I think they'll work it out eventually. There'll be a lot of scares.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they'll work it out. So, what are your? Were you a horror movie fan before you started doing all of this? Like, are you a horror movie fan in general?
Oh yeah, no. I started off some of my earliest short films when I was like 11 years old with some friends. We did a little werewolf movie on VHS, back in the day, and I did the VHS camcorder edit to the VHS player and did the in-camera edit like the old school way. I wouldn't remember how to do it now, but yeah, I started with short little horror films and stuff like that. And The Exorcist was like one of the earliest movies that I ever saw as a kid, when I think I was like 11 or 12. So getting to work with Eileen on this was sort of a bucket list dream come true, and she was just a great support on it, and she loved the script from the get go. But yeah, I watch horror all year round. I'm not just an October horror
I'm not
movie
even.
guy.
I'm all around. What are some of your favorite horror movies?
Well, definitely The Exorcist is number one. I mean, Clockwork Orange, I don't know if that's really considered horror, but it's up there as like one of those really strange and bizarre type of films. That's up there, and having gotten to meet Malcolm McDowell a couple years ago, also a bucket list.
I love Malcolm McDowell. I have a. I'll tell you just a quick story. So, I used to go. That the reason that this show became so popular is because I used to be a clothing designer, and I would take my clothes to the conventions and set them up in my room and give them to the stars if they would let me take pictures with them. And I was single at the time, and I always buy VIP tickets so I don't have to wait in line.
Mm.
And so I went up to Malcolm McDowell to take a picture, and I whispered in his ear, and his manager heard me. I said, "I know you're straight, but if you were gay, I would rock your world." And he loved it. He gave me a big hug, and then he went to the room and took a bunch of clothes, and he was wearing them. And then, like on the second day, he called me in the middle of the day, and it's like, it's tea time, for me to take a break. You want to go get something to drink? And I went with him, and then I went to dinner with them. And then the next day, he and Doug Bradley, who's Pinhead, and Lance Henriksen, who's my favorite actor, they called me, and I had given all of them some clothes. And they were like, "You want to go have breakfast with us?" So then I got to have breakfast with the three of them.
Oh, nice.
It was like one of the greatest, like that, and Clive Barker come into my room for like 7 hours and talking to us and just telling stories and stuff. Those are like my two like highlights of meeting people that I like so much.
Oh, very cool.
And Lance Henriksen gave me an alien tile. He makes these ceramic tiles with the alien monster on. He doesn't sell them or anything. He made them. And at the end of the convention, he called me and said, "Come by my booth, real quick." And I went over there, and he said, I had a great time with you this weekend. I just want to give this to you. And it was the alien tile on the back. He wrote, "To Jimmy Star, you're the coolest fucker I ever met." And he signed it.
Oh, sweet. Very cool. Yeah, I had.
Because I like that collectible stuff. I love all that collectible stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
That's like a big thing for me.
Nice.
So I think that's all like a lot of fun, and I like all different kinds of horror movies. Like I told our last guest, The Lost Boys is like my favorite movie.
Yeah, Lost Boys is fantastic.
It's just a fun movie, and I enjoy it a lot. But I pretty much like it. Pretty much I can never think of things when I'm trying to think of them. But like, but I like zombie movies and werewolf movies. I actually have a werewolf movie that we haven't raised the money for yet, but I just signed up Adam Marcus, who wrote and directed Friday the 13th, Jason Lives, I think, and
cool.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. He's the writer and director, and he's going to direct it for us.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the editor on my film Closing Shift, he was in the art department on Friday the 13th 5.
There you go. I love all those.
One of his first films. So yeah, there's a lot of people that come from those earlier horror films and stuff, and he's branched more into writing, directing, but he's coming on as editor.
I asked
for this one.
You worked on a bunch of stuff. You were first of all, what did you do on Clown Motel 2? Because I wrote Clown Motel 2 down.
Yeah, so we were shooting the pickup days for Compatible out in Lancaster, and they were doing the pickup for Clown Motel 2
Motel at the same time.
So I was helping out a little bit, and I thought we were going to be more in like the actual LA area. So I went out with like a bunch of money, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to spend all this money out here because there's nothing to do. And I saw that Joe needed some help with some food and stuff. So I went out and got food for the cast that was waiting for shooting in the desert scene. And so he gave me a co-producer credit on that film for helping out on that one.
Because I see that you've also worked on a bunch of the Mahal Brothers films, which I love. I love their films, and I love the Mahal Brothers. And basically, like, I went to the premieres of a lot of these films: Death Count, Arena Wars, Bloodthirst, Night of the Tommy Knockers. I think I went to all those different ones. And it's very sad that they had a death in the family, and that stuff's going to get all messed up now. Because I think that as far as like Indiegogo films go, their films are really good.
Yeah, that was a big hit, and Sonny and Michael were really the ones that really gave me my first start into this whole world of the ultra low budget, micro budget filmmaking. With being on Attack of the Unknown, I put in for one of the side roles of the associate producer credit. Went out to LA. My partner and I got stranded out there through a guy that had driven us, and he left us out there. And the Mahals, I'd already filmed my first scene, and I had another scene to shoot 2 days later, so we couldn't leave. And so the Mahals put us up at a hotel. They Ubered us to the airport. They were just really generous. Richard Grieco was amazing. He kept an eye on my partner because he's more introverted, and he kept asking him if he was okay. And it was just a fantastic experience, other than being left out in LA.
Richard
But
was a very cool guy, actually.
Yeah.
I knew him many years ago, and then I used to work for a record label, and they tried to sign him to the record label. This is like 20 something years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then we actually met him though at Art of the Dead, at the premiere
nice.
of Art of the Dead, and Ron was peeing next to him and talking like, "Oh, you should come on our show and stuff." And Richard Grieco probably thought we were crazy, but we've become very friendly with him, and he's been on the show like, I don't know, 5 times or something. And
oh, nice.
He's a really good guy, and I actually would like to use him in some of the stuff I'm working on now. I'm doing a little bit bigger budget stuff right now that I'm working on, and so I have to have stars who can get me really good distribution. But for some of the other roles, I'm hoping I can bring him on board for some of them.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, and then Attack of the Unknown, I met Robert Lasardo, and
Great
he came
guy.
on my movie The Hostage, and he was the first one that kind of helped spearhead that, because we were doing Harvest and Hostage like at the tail end of COVID, and he said, "Let's not shoot in LA." He's like, "I'm all about coming back to Denver." And it was funny because he'd actually worked on a movie called Tiger Street, which was shot out here in Denver back in the early 90s. And one of the earliest producers that I ever met was one of the producers on Tiger Street. And when I told him about that, he was like, "Oh my God, I haven't thought about that movie in forever." So it was kind of cool that we had a connection that went so far back. And then, we ended up working on Hostage together, and they're doing pretty well on streaming. So, yeah, if it hadn't been for the Mahals.
Robert Lasardo is one of the coolest guys in Hollywood. He does everything from huge films to really little films. We actually met him at the Night of the Tommyknockers premiere, I think it was, or Bloodthirst, too. And I was almost like afraid to talk to him because he's so mean looking. When you first see him in all his roles, he plays somebody who's going to fucking kill you.
Yeah. No,
so I was a little bit afraid, but I just
acting
started.
That kind of gets you. Even my husband was the same way when he first met him on The Hostage, but then they started talking, and he's like, "No, he's a really cool guy. He's not as intimidating as he looks, but it's just the characters. He gets really into it."
He and Ron hit it off great. They were talking about classic movies on Turner Classic Movies, because Robert Lasardo looks young, but he's not young. And he's a great guy. He's been on our show twice, and he calls me like every couple of weeks. We get on the phone and just say hello and see how we're doing. I also noticed that you did Harvest with Nicole Sinaglia, who I've interviewed before, and Vernon Wells, who's been on our show. But I also have a movie out right now called The Beast Inside, that he's the star, one of the stars of it. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
too.
I caught that on Tubi. Yeah.
So he's a really cool guy. He was telling us some wild stories when we were on set, and it's funny because the very first pop culture convention that I went, where you get autographs and stuff, which was like probably in the 90s, in the late 90s or so, and the very first one I had ever gone to, he was the star of it. He was one of the main. Him and Corey Feldman were two of the main people, and
nice.
I remember thinking how excited I was to meet the guy, and then. Here I am 25 or 30 years later, I actually did a movie with him. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, he was great. He told us some great stories too on like how he got cast in Inner Space based on his performance in Commando, and some of the stunt stuff that he had to deal with, and really connected with him on like the Buddhist side of things, and talked with him a lot about that. And him and his wife had a wolf sanctuary in California, and that's my spirit animal. So that, we had that connection. And we just talked like for a couple hours before we started shooting and really got to know each other, and was
We
really
did too. We did
yeah.
too. We had a really good time. I had a very good time with him. As a matter of fact, while we were making the movie, I bought a like his character from what's the fucking Mel Gibson movie?
Oh,
Road,
Mad
Road
Max 2.
Warrior, Mad Max, or whatever. I actually bought the action figure and brought it to set to have him sign for me because I
Oh,
collect
cool.
action figures. So I wanted him to sign one of them. So I thought it was really cool. Okay, so does your husband make movies also?
No, he does some gothic jewelry. He's done some production design and hair and makeup on some of the films. He did the production design on Compatible. He did the production design and hair and makeup in Hostage, and some of the production design on Harvest. But yeah, he's not as much into it as I am.
So how long have you guys been together?
We're going on 13 years next month.
Oh, that's what we are too. 13 years.
Oh,
Ron and I.
nice. Congrats.
Congratulations to you guys too. I think that's cool.
Thanks.
I think for me, so I collect the action figures from anybody who's been on the show, and I have a new movie I'm working on now. It's an original script, and it's an original killer that hasn't been done yet in horror, really. But I actually it's called The Legend of the Bunny Man, and I actually had action figures made.
Oh, nice.
So this is my 12-inch, and this is my 3.5-inch.
Oh, cool.
And hopefully I'll come up with the money to get the movie made soon. It's funny because I put a thing saying all the posters that I've made, a bunch of posters, and said that we're looking for funding, and literally I had like 10 different like kind of iconic people in the horror world ask me who's playing Bunny Man. They all want to play Bunny Man.
Oh, nice.
So I don't think it'll be hard to cast it.
Yeah, casting a killer is never usually hard. It's everyone else.
I think it's going to be easy, and I think it'll be a lot of fun actually. So tell everybody, what movies do you have that are the movies like The Hostage and Harvest? Those are shorts though, then, right?
No, those are both features as well. Like I said, we shot those back in 2021, back to back. Those are streaming on Amazon, Fossum, Roku channel, Tubi, and Harvest is also on Plex TV. And then they're doing well enough. The distributor may be distributing one of them. Not sure which one yet, but on DVD here pretty soon.
Oh, I'm gonna watch those then. For some reason I thought that you said Compatible was your first feature, so you shot these after Compatible, but it just took a long time because Compatible hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
those ones
now
were
I
a little bit. Yeah, those were a little bit quicker turnaround, but Compatible's the third movie released, but the first film done.
Okay. Oh no, that's cool because you got good people in them. Robert Lasarda's a good one to have in films, and Vernon Wells is a good one to have in films. And in Attack of Unknown, you were actually an actor too, right? You said you shot 2 days. That's on Tubi, I think.
Yeah, that's on just about every streaming platform you can find. Tubi, Paramount Plus, Apple TV. You can find it just about everywhere.
That movie has a lot of famous people in it, like really a lot. Like that was a really good one. It was done pretty
Douglas Tate, Jolene Anderson, Grieco, Lasardo. I can't even remember the rest of them. There's a ton.
So then how did you do did you Indiegogo to raise the money for Compatible, or how did you raise the money for Compatible?
Yeah, Compatible was my first really big Kickstart campaign. That was a full success, and that was a big part to Joe Kelly coming on board with his network. After that, it was all more independent private investors. That's typically how I raise financing. Harvest,
That's how I do.
yeah, Harvest. Really, as soon as we had the poster up, I had my first investor for $10,000.
That's awesome.
Which was great. I wish it was always that easy. But it's, hit or miss sometimes, but we're trying to raise the final finishing funds for Closing Shift right now, which is $30,000 for post-production. And then the next one is $40,000 to $60,000, the vampire movie, the kids one.
I think it's so I'm not against Indiegogo. I don't want to say like negative things because everybody has to make movies, however they make them. But I like the Indiegogo campaigns where you can buy movies and posters and visit the set and stuff. But like and I told this to the Mahal brothers, so it's not like it's we talk about it all the time on here. I don't like the fact like Like we went and saw Night of the Tommyknockers. Great movie. They did a great job. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
There's like 50 characters in there that with one line that you didn't need.
Yeah.
You know, they have to be in there because they paid for a role. You know, and that's the only thing I don't like about the Indiegogo campaigns is that I think it sometimes bastardizes the quality of the people, because all those people maybe think they're actors, but most of them are really not, and they're not really any good. And so I don't like that part of it, but I have total respect anyway, because I think there's a lot of like armchair quarterbacks that sit around saying, "Oh, your movie sucked." I mean, I've made a lot of movies that have sucked. You know, not every movie is great, but I don't think people realize how hard it is to actually make a movie, get it distributed. You know, everybody who's never done it sits there and says that movie sucks. But you know, have you done it? No. You know, have you tried to do it? No.
Yeah,
I don't think people really realize how difficult it actually is. To actually do it and get distribution. The fact that you got distribution, you know, for The Hostage and Harvest, you know, already and stuff. I think it's big kudos to every filmmaker, every independent filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
Whether I think your movie is good or not, the fact that you took an idea and you started it and you completed it and you got it out for the world to see, it's a very difficult thing to do. And I don't think that people who haven't done it really shouldn't talk about it, because I don't think that they comprehend how difficult it actually is to get the whole thing done.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, I got the distribution actually without a sales agent. I had a couple of people that were trying to help, but they were just coming at me with these offers. It was like, what are you even doing? Like, you know, and I was acquainted with the head of ITN distribution on LinkedIn, and they watched them. They weren't for them, but he referred me to Breaking Glass. And so he's like, I think Breaking Glass might be able to do something with this. And they absolutely love both the films.
Tom Malloy, I think, is Breaking Glass. Tom Malloy? I'm not sure.
Which
but
one?
I think, yes. I think Breaking Glass is Tom Malloy owns Breaking Glass. I'm not sure, though.
I believe so, yeah. I've been talking with Mike Conroy and Rich Wolf, were my original contacts through them. I think the gentleman you mentioned, I think he's through Deliver Films that brings them to the streaming platforms and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's definitely a hard process, and the fact that they're doing as well as they are, and actually that's how I got the deal for the Vampire's Vacation, the kids film, is the author of the book, Saul Harvest, on Tubi, and he reached out to me through Twitter and asked me if I would be interested in doing one of his books, and I had no idea who he was or how long he'd been around. He's been writing since '74. And so he's in his mid 80s right now, and nothing of his has ever been made into a film or an animated series. He's got 5 or 6 series out for young kids.
I love it. That's super cool, though.
Yeah, so it was really cool that was the connection, that he saw my work and reached out to me. So no, I'm going to
watch them. I'm going to watch Hostage and Harvest. I'm going to watch them because I do PR work all day, so I can watch stuff. I watch stuff while I'm going. So we want to tell everybody Compatible. I'll let you guys. I'll let the world know when Compatible is available. You guys check out the Hostage and Harvest on Tubi, and we want to thank you for coming on the show and talking with me today. And good luck with everything. And I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad you reached out, and let's see what we can do for getting some. I'd love to do the sequel to Compatible. So let's see what we can do.
That'd be great. And if anyone's interested in coming on board, my email is ginomafilms@gmail.com. You can shoot me an email.
There you go. All right, Gino. Thank you so much. Cool. We'll see you on social media.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jimmy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the show today. I know it's a little different than what we're used to, but I had a good time, and I send Ron all your best because I see all the messages, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Jimmy,
Yeah, this is MC Alfred
and Ozzy.
I'm just chilling, Jimmy Star, yo, sitting down and designing. Where every man them thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party. Let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Bitch, I'm your one I wanna be. Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out.